All right, how's everybody doing today? I know that you are enjoying a fantastic meal, and Piola has worked hard to get this all together. So I just want to say thank you to Piola, first of all. So let's give her a round of applause. I want to thank you guys for giving up your part of your Sunday afternoons to be here to listen about honoring God through your health. I think it's one topic that we as a church body constantly neglect. And if you've ever seen a church prayer list, you may agree with me that there are dozens upon dozens upon dozens of people praying for God to heal them, praying for an answer, and praying for something to change. However, we continue to live the same way day in and day out. And so my hope for today is that you leave here with a new lease on life, that you see that God has given us everything that we need on the inside of our bodies to heal and function the way that He intended to. So one of my favorite quotes is Romans 12:1. Most people focus on Romans 12:2 about renewing your mind, but here it says, I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Again, it's a verse that many people skip over because we don't want to be held accountable to our health. We think of health as if we don't have to go to the doctor and we don't have to take medication, then we're doing all right. Or if we went on our yearly checkup that we haven't gotten a new medication, then we must be okay. The fact of the matter is that's not what God intended for us. He had so many bigger things in mind. And for us to make a big impact in the kingdom here on earth, we need to be able to live out our lives healthy. So this is Dr. James and myself. We are a brother and sister combination, and we have been a part of this community for the last 16 years and have been serving and doing talks like this at different churches, local businesses, schools, you name it. We have been out in the community doing this. And so getting to come here on a Sunday afternoon to be with you guys is an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to be able to do this with you. So couple fun facts about us. We are part of 4 generations of chiropractors. We have over 40 chiropractors in our family, and it is something that we have grown up with our entire lives. And so when you think about a chiropractic family, when you think about a chiropractic office, we grew up in this. You know, I didn't grow up with a medicine cabinet. I didn't grow up going to the doctor when I had the sniffles or coughs. I didn't grow up doing things like normal people did. We grew up differently. We grew up thinking that and knowing that health comes from within. And so we really want to dive down deep into that today and understand that health does come from within. And I'll point some of that stuff out here. You know, when we talk about our family reunions, what do you think it's like when 40 chiropractors get together and talk about health, right? We're talking about health. We're talking about miracle stories, people getting off of medication, people reversing their diseases, people getting to walk when they came in on a walker or in a wheelchair, and these miracle stories that happen, unlike that happen in specific medical clinics. I'm not here to bash the medical system. I'm not here to talk poorly about them. I am here to show you a new way and a new type of thinking in that process. So as you're enjoying your food, I just pray that you can open your ears, open your heart, and open your mind to receive the information that you're about to receive. In front of you, you have this sheet. It says Adult Health Survey. I would love it if at some point during today or this talk, hopefully sooner rather than later, that you read through the front of this packet and you circle anything that's been bothering you in the last 6 months to a year. That's going to give you a good indication of what disconnections you may have when it comes to your health. I'll be going through more of that as we walk through this. On the inside of this pamphlet is a nervous system and the effects of spinal misalignment. I'm very well aware that you need your magnifying glass to see this, but I promise you, I will be talking about this, referencing what's happening up here. You can take this home and look at it. When you come into our office, you'll get a bigger version of that as well. On the back side of this sheet here is my favorite and I believe the most important part of this whole packet. It is a blank page. I believe that if you walk out of here and this page is still blank, then you did today wrong. because I will be going through information that you haven't heard before. Maybe that doesn't quite resonate with you just yet, but I just ask that you write down some notes, things that you haven't heard of before, and understand and learn, be fully engaged in this talk, and not just here for the food, but really here to learn some things. So if I asked you this question, what is health and why does it matter? This is the hope that we're going to walk out of here today, understanding what health is and why it matters. Because if I asked every single one of you guys a definition of health, I would get a different answer from every one of you. When you think of the word health, what are some words that pop up in your mind? This is the part where you get to engage with me and say things back. Yes, Piola?
No pain.
No pain, okay. What else?
Full of energy.
Full of energy, great.
Feeling normal.
Feeling normal. Strength. Medication? No medication. A lot of times when I ask that question, people say it's how I look and how I feel, to dwindle it down to two answers. If I look okay, or at least a little bit like I looked like yesterday, then I'm okay. If I feel like I have enough energy, or if I feel like I'm okay, then I think I'll be on the right track. And the fact of the matter is, a paper cut hurts more than a tumor growing in your body. Right? So is it really truly about how you feel? It takes about 7 years for a tumor to show up on any type of scan that we have. Is that 7 years of you building health, or is that 7 years of you building disease? And so we want to highlight some facts that it may not just be how you look and how you feel, but more deeply than that. Our health depends on our choices. If you start future casting 20, 30, 40 years from now, what do you see? Well, maybe for some of you. 5, 10, 15 years from now. How's that? You know, the reality of it is that no matter how far along you are, you're never too old to make a change in your health. Did you hear me on that? No matter how far along you are, you're never too old to make a change in your health. I'm not here to stand and confirm that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm not here for that. Because I see people, we just had a 100-year-old patient start in our office. She received a chiropractic adjustment for the first time in her life at 100 years old. She's not done yet. And if you're here and you're breathing and you're listening, then I promise you that God's not done with your life yet. And so what do you see in the next, even if it is 5, 10, 15 years? Are you thriving? Are you living the life that God intended you for? Or are you just getting by, hoping not to get put on another medication, hoping not to have another ailment pop up? It's time to make changes in our health, because we know that the decisions that we're making each and every day pile onto each other, and those determine what the outcome is. Is this country healthy or sick? Sick. Like, I think every one of us can agree with that. Like, and it has become more highlighted in the last 3-4 years than ever before. Right? I was listening to you guys talking about kids getting more sick and kids having issues and all these things. And we noticed that in our office, that there are more kids on more medications than ever before. And our drug companies have developed lifetime patients. And so they will be going down that road for the rest of their life. Unless, what? They change. And so we've got to get to as many people as possible, which is why we're here on a Sunday afternoon, to start changing your minds on what health is. You know, the reality is that we had too long of a line for people standing in masks and the vaccines. And I'm not here to battle whether you are a vaxxer or a non-vaxxer or a masker or a non-masker. I don't care. What I do care is that you start to understand is that we need to build a healthy immune system. We need to be driven by a healthy diet, by rest, by supplementation, by chiropractic, by making sure that our nervous system is functioning and healing the way that God designed it to, making sure that there's no pressure on our nervous system. Nobody's ever taught you that before. Right? Some of you are sitting later in your ages and you've never been taught what true chiropractic is in your entire life until today. There are a lot of main reasons why people get sick, but number one is the lack of commitment. So I want you to write this down. Number one reason why people get sick, because they're not committed. We are about to go through the January New Year's resolution season, that people put these resolutions in their minds and they want to last for 300 and next year's 66 days. And what happens is it lasts about 3 days, maybe 6 if we're lucky. You go to the gym in January and you can't find a parking spot. You wait until about the 3rd week and all of a sudden it's empty again. You can't get on the machines, you can't swim in the pool, you can't play basketball because everybody's in there. Give it a couple weeks and guess what? Everything clears up again. We want to change this. We want to help people make it simple and stay committed to what health truly is. The number 2 reason is that we have the wrong information. We have these big, ginormous phones and computers, and we can type into Dr. Google or now Chat GPT and have the AI world tell us what health is and how do I start a diet and what's the best thing for me. And we're listening to these artificial intelligence give us these answers, but is it actually good for you? And so again, we want to simplify it for your body specifically to help you heal the way that God designed. So what is health? If it's not just how we look and just how we feel, we have to develop a definition of what that is. Because the reality is you're either moving towards disease or you're moving towards health. You're not just staying in one place. My dad is if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of guy. And the problem with that is that you're not always just not fixing it. There's disease building while you're not fixing it. And so we have to highlight these things over time. If I were to show you these 3 people right here, which one would you automatically, without thinking, say is the most sick? This one here, right? But what if I told you that this person had a stage 4 brain tumor? Or that they had heart disease and they died of a heart attack the next day? Have we all seen that happen before? For sure. We've had people in our lives that have died of a heart disease, heart attack, have gotten a cancer diagnosis, and they were totally fine the day before. They even got a clean bill of health, and then all of a sudden they're gone. So is it just how we look and how we feel? Because the fact of the matter is that all 3 of these people could be unhealthy. It's not just about weight, and it's also not just about how many abs you have poking out of your stomach. Here's the deal. 5 out of 6 people are dying of either heart disease or cancer in our country. That's 83% of people are dying of 2 diseases. You know, I think of that and I think of the lockdowns that happened in 2020 and, you know, we've had these stats. They haven't changed the whole time I've been in practice. But no fast food restaurants have shut down. No sales of junk food has gone away. In fact, most of that stuff has increased. If not, you know, you drive down Randall Road. I came from St. Charles on Randall Road, and I lost count of how many fast food restaurants were there, with lines through them. I drive by McDonald's every single day when I go to work, and there's a line around the corner, or Chipotle, or Portillo's, or whatever it is you want to name. Like, it is what it is, but are we really focusing on health? And do we really care that if we really cared, if the government really cared, things would be shut down? Right? So we have to stop trusting these people that are on the TV, because not one person on TV said, hey, let's boost your immune system. Let's figure out why you're not healing. Take these supplements. In fact, the people that were saying all these things and still are saying all these things were getting blocked away, quieted up. And so we need to change this stat. My mission on this earth is to change this stat. If not for the entire planet, for the one person that's right in front of me. And that includes you in this room. We have to change this because it is a reality. How do people manage their health? When you get sick or you have some sort of symptom pop up, you take a medication. What else?
Go to bed. Rest.
Yeah, well, she's not wrong. You start to ignore it. You go to bed. I'm going to just ignore it for a few days and see what happens. And then if that doesn't work, you finally go and get some meds, right? And if that doesn't work, you get it cut out. Because that's our healthcare system. And to me, that's not health. How can I be 37 years old and never taken a medication in my entire life? It's not by chance. It's not because I lucked out. It's because I'm applying different principles than everybody else. So, we have to change this system. We have to change this approach to your health. This can't be the primary approach to your health care. Symptoms. I think that we have demonized symptoms, that they're a bad thing, which I don't love symptoms. I don't love when people walk in with them. However, we have to start understanding that symptoms are telling a story. Symptoms are allowing you to know, like, hey, something's going on. We got to fix this. So whether it's back pain or headaches or high blood pressure or high cholesterol or neck pain or insomnia, or the list goes on the front part of that page, whatever those things that you're experiencing, those are red flags that your body is saying, hey, something's going on. And if you tell me, nope, everything's fine, I have it under control, my next question is going to be, what are you doing to have it under control? Most likely your answer is going to be, well, I have blood pressure medication, high cholesterol medication, I have all these things. Now, what if I took those medications away? What happens?
Okay.
You might be. You very well might be. What's the plan to get you off those medications? What's the plan to change your health? What's the plan to implement new healing? Promise you there isn't one. Or they gave you a pamphlet and said, read through this, which most people don't, and they just take the meds. These symptoms tell stories. We have to start honoring these symptoms. The number one cause of death in our country is medical care and prescription drugs.
Really?
Medical care and prescription drugs. There's a book called Death by Medicine. It's by Dr. Gary Knoll. If you want to read it, you can go read it. But there's all kinds of stats in there. It's very statistical and very nerdy and very maybe over your head, but it is worth the read to understand that the right medications at the right time given to the right people causes some sort of death. Whether it be an overdose, whether it be a reaction, whether it be, who knows. We have to start changing these statistics. We can continue to walk that road of the medical system. We can continue to go get more medications, or we can find the cause. We can start going a different route. Sometimes when you drive the same route to church or to work, sometimes all you need in your life is for someone to say, hey, just take a different route. It's a little bit faster, there's less traffic, just go this way. But you say, but I've been going this way my entire life. Well, just try this. And then you do it one time and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this way. I'm going to take this way for the rest of my life. That's where we're at today. Are you going to continue driving down the same route or start to shift it? Now, at this point of the talk, this is where people have a little bit of irritation bubbling on the inside of them. That you're telling me that what I've been doing my entire life is incorrect. Yeah. But I'm also telling you that it's okay to be able to recognize those things and also to step into a time of making a change. So here we go. We're going to go on a journey to find the cause. In order to get somewhere, in order to have directions to here, I had to know the address. I had to know the definition. So if I want to create health in my life, I need to know what the definition is. This is my favorite definition. This is from Dorland's Medical Dictionary. It says the optimal functioning and healing of your body. Mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually. Not merely, this is my favorite part, not merely the absence of sickness and disease. So it's not just how you look and how you feel. That's the definition of health. And if we made this a little bit of a smaller definition for you, health equals 100% function. How well is your body functioning? Mind, body, soul. When we have symptoms that pop up into our life, you're only functioning at about 60%. that means that you have lost about 40% of your function in your body. Now, if I said, hey, you have an option of having a heart that's functioning at 100% or a heart that's functioning at 60%, how many of you would choose the 60% heart? Hope none of you. Everybody should be wanting to go for the 100% heart. Now, what if I said you have an interference in the transmission to the power going to your heart that's creating your heart to only function at 60%? Do you want to learn about what it takes to get that back to functioning at 100%? I hope everybody wants to, right? Here's the deal. In order for us to understand what 100% functioning is, we have to understand where it's all coming from. All power, all healing comes from the power that's in your brain. Chiropractors aren't special. All we do is move the bone back into position. There's already a power that's inside of your brain, a power that God gave us. It's instilled into our body. It makes our heart beat. It makes our lungs breathe. It makes our stomach digest the beautiful meal you just ate. You know, if I chopped this guy's head off, what happens to him? Does he live or does he die? He dies. Sometimes or every time? Every time. You can't argue with that. Right? Now, if we know that all power is coming from our brain, it's using the brainstem, the spinal cord, and these nerves to communicate to the organs, the cells, and your tissues. If that's power in your brain is communicating to your heart through this pathway, if I cut the nerve that goes to your heart, does your heart keep beating or does it stop?
It stops.
This is an easy question. This is easy. Like if I went to the breaker box and I tripped the breakers, and no matter how many times we flick the switch in here, the lights what? There's no power. They're not coming back on. So if I'm not chopping heads off, I'm not cutting nerves, but if I went here and I started pinching the nerve going to your heart, is that good or bad? Bad. Now, is that going to be building health or disease over time? Disease. Sometimes or every time? Do you want to know if you have pressure on the nerve going to specific organs, cells, or tissues? You should. So how do we do that? Great question. One of my other favorite verses that we have is, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I believe that God gave us everything that we need to heal on the inside of us. But we're not honoring that power. We're not honoring that ability. We're damaging it over time. This is a principle that we teach to our patients, the above, down, inside, out principle. This is what we teach, right? What does that mean? It means that life energy in your body flows from above, in your brain, down your spinal cord, inside of your nerves, and out to every single organ, cell, and tissue. The above, down, inside, out principle. If you get the big idea, all else follows. If you understand what this truly means, that if we can unlock the dams, if we can unlock the construction zones on our nervous system, our body can heal and function the way it's designed. How do I know that? Because I've witnessed it, because I've experienced it, because I see it every single day in our office. Now, in order for you to understand what that is, we have to look at the spine, because the spine is the thing that moves. It makes us mobile. But the problem is that we have now text messaging, computers, books, newspapers, really comfy chairs, really comfy beds. And so we're constantly sitting like this. Problem with that is because when you have a spine, which all of you do, believe it or not, you want to be completely straight from front to back. The thing that most people don't know is that you want to have 3 curves at 45 degrees. Everybody say 45. 3 curves, 45 degrees. 1 in your neck, 1 in your mid-back, and 1 below. Problem is that when these bones shift outside of their normal position, it puts pressure on that nerve. Think about this conversation. If that nerve is going to your heart, is that good or bad? It's bad. If this nerve is going to your stomach and it's pinched, is that good or bad? How soon do you want to find that out? ASAP, right? So, perfection. Think 3 curves, 45 degrees, completely straight from front to back. When we take x-rays, this is what we want your x-ray of your neck to look like? A beautiful 45-degree curve. We want these top two bones to be parallel with each other, that there's no pressure right on the brainstem. That's right where the brainstem's communicating to the rest of the body. This big long word, subluxation. Everybody say that, subluxation. How many people have heard of that before? A couple of you. Okay, so subluxation means it's putting pressure on the nerve in your spine. The bones have shifted outside of the normal position. Essentially, your hose in your body is getting kinked and the water's not flowing at the rate that it's supposed to be. Who remembers this guy? This is the room to remember that. Some crowds I go into, they're a little bit too young, but you guys should know. What's his name?
Christopher.
What happened to him? He fell off a horse and what happened? He was paralyzed from the neck down. He actually broke his C2 bone in his spine, the very second bone in your spine. He put a dime's worth of pressure. So think about holding a dime. It's not very heavy. It's not that much pressure. Dime's worth of pressure on his spinal cord, and it shut down his life. Now, he went from being this like superhero man to this man that was plugged into machines and not functioning well. They had him, would have to massage his stomach for him to be able to go to the bathroom. They had him on a machine to make his lungs breathe. They had a thing to make his body work and do everything. So what they did is they created artificial function. But what happens over time is that even if you have artificial function, your body's not healing because the brainstem and the spinal cord aren't able to work the way that they're supposed to. So his healing started to decrease. So while you can create artificial function, you cannot create artificial healing. And so, to give you an idea, I know that nobody in here is paralyzed, right? So maybe that doesn't relate to you. But if you can look at this, this is a curve that is completely gone. It's a reverse curve. It's putting pressure on the brainstem. This is your atlas bone. This is the neck. It's supposed to be a C curve, just like that 45-degree curve. What's happening is it's choking off life from the brainstem. This is the brainstem. This is the spinal cord. You can see how much it's getting choked off there. Does that look good or bad? Do you know that there's only 10% of your nervous system that's pain-fibered nerves? The other 90% of your nervous system is designed to make all of this function. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because the majority of people that walk into my office, their spines look like this or some variation of this. And they say, well, doc, I don't have any pain. I don't have any issues in my spine. Well, that's great. I'm glad you don't have pain, but your function is shutting down. Your body's not healing, and I have evidence of that. You know, how many of you know what the curve of your neck looks like? You wouldn't unless you went to a chiropractor, a corrective care chiropractor that takes x-rays. This is just to give you an animated view of what subluxation looks like. There's 7 laws of subluxation. You can write these down if you would like to. 7 laws of subluxation. Law number 1 is that you can't feel it. Like I just said, there's only 10% of your nervous system that's pain-fibered nerve, so you most likely are not feeling that you have subluxation in your body. Number 2 is who can have it? Everybody can have it. If you have a spine, like my dogs can even have it, right? They get adjusted because I want to make sure their nervous system is healed. Early degeneration. You know, a lot of times people say, well, I'm just not going to do anything about it, right? And so the longer that the spine stays outside of its normal position, the more likely of a chance that you're going to have degeneration earlier on. This used to be said as an old person's disease, but now we're seeing kids as young as 8 years old come into our office with degeneration already happening in their spine. Because of the tablets, because of the screens, because of the video games and all the things that we have going on. Number 4, nutrition, exercise, and yoga cannot correct subluxation. I promise you that my brother and I are 2 of the most diligent nutrition people that you will ever meet. We work out more than anybody that you've ever seen combined. We love yoga, we love stretching, we love doing all those things, but I get adjusted 2 to 3 times a week, and so does my brother. We've been adjusted our entire life. The reason why we get adjusted so frequently still is because of the exercise that we do, because of the amount of people that we take care of, and because of the stress that we put onto our spines. I want to make sure that my body is cleared, my body's healing, my body's functioning. So I have the second best chiropractor in town. Who corrects it? Just me and my brother. We're the only 2 chiropractors that correct subluxation. That was a joke. That was a joke. Any chiropractor does correct subluxation. However, not every chiropractor does correct subluxation. I'm sure that you had different experiences at different chiropractic offices. One thing that sets us apart is that we do take, we're our spinal correction office. And so we specifically look at the structure of your spine to see how we need to get that corrected and heal your body. How do we see it? That's the next question, is that we take x-rays. We do a nerve scan to see what the functionality of the spine is, to see if there's any inflammation throughout your spine. And then we want to see, we're not here to guess, we're not here to play games. We want to see what your x-rays look like. And I hope you want to see that too, because the thing is that if someone says you need to get adjusted for the rest of your life, but they don't show you evidence of that, it's hard for me to follow that. And so we are very much into education, we're very much into showing you, we're very much into having you be the doctor and us just teaching you through this process. Number 7 is time. Has anybody ever had a cavity before? A cavity? Has anybody gone to the dentist and they say you have a cavity? What's the next move usually with the dentist? They're going to fix it like right now, right? Somehow they move their whole schedule around so you can do it right now. Has anybody ever said, I'm just going to hold off on this? I'm just going to stop and see what happens. What would happen if I did that? You probably would end up having some sort of a root canal, or some of your teeth are coming out for sure. So it's better to fix it sooner than later. Same thing happens in my office. People come in and I show them their x-rays. I show them that they don't have the 3 curves in their spine. I show them that they already have degeneration starting in their spine. I'm just going to hold off on this. I'm just not going to do this right now. Is that going to get better or worse? And so now is the time to take action and do what you need to do. This is a video of a spine coming out of that 45-degree curve. You're going to start to see, you might not be able to see it with the glares and things, but you're going to start to see degeneration building. These disc spaces between the bones are going to get smaller. These front areas right here are going to start merging together. This is a reverse curve in the spine. These disc spaces are getting smaller. They're starting to fuse together. This, as it goes over time, is worse and worse and worse. We want to get you as soon as we can, because this person, I can't help. Why do you think that is? Too late. Do you think they're thriving with their health? Or no? Now, what if they would have learned about that 10, 15, 20 years ago? There's that question, when's the best time to plant a tree? Well, 20 years ago, but the next best time is when? Now. Right? And so we want to help you take action with all of this. And so this is just a picture of one of my patients, a friend of mine. She's actually a pastor as well. And she came in and she was having severe pain. She was having severe headaches, numbness and tingling into her arms, having trouble with her hormones and losing weight. She had what we call an S curve. So she had a positive 7-degree curve here and then a negative 7-degree curve there. And so her nervous system was shutting down. I said, hey, listen, just give me 2 months. Do what I tell you to do the exercises, come in for the adjustments, and let's see what happens. And so she did. So this was taken on January 6th of 2020. And then this next picture was taken on March 2nd of 2020. That moves to a 40-degree curve. That's incredible. And that's just one story of hundreds of people in our office that are getting correction and change. But it comes from you first taking action. I can't help you if you don't come see. I can't help you if you don't make the commitment. I can't help you if you don't want to make change. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, are you ready to make a change? And if the answer is no, then why not? What are you waiting for? If your name's on a prayer list, maybe this is the answer to your prayer. right? It's like that saying when, there's a flood and God sends a boat and no, I'm waiting for the answer. And he sends a helicopter. No, I'm waiting for a rescue. They're like, dummy, like I've been giving you rescues all this time and you keep waving them off. Have fun. Swim out. So we need to make a change, but do you see a problem? How many of you know what your x-rays look like? How many of you know exactly what the curve in your neck is? How many of you know how much degeneration is in your spine? I would guess a very small percentage. So here's what we do in our office. If you're wondering, how do I get my spine checked? I have the answer for you. In our office, we do spinal exam and imaging. And so what that looks like is we do a digital foot analysis. So we're going to check the bottom of your feet. The reason why that's important is because I want to make sure that the arches of your feet haven't dropped in any way. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a spinal thermography scan. We'll run a scan from the base of your sacrum all the way up to the base of your skull. That's going to show me where all the inflammation is throughout your spine. What we'll do next is range of motion. See if you can touch your nose and touch your toes and shoulders, ears, all the things, right? And then we have digital x-rays on site in our office. We'll take 4 different views of your spine to see exactly what's going on. Altogether, when we put this together, it's a $450 value. That's the lowest that my brother and I could get this to in our office. We are a family practice, and this is the best that we can do. If you went to Delnor or to Advocate Care or to whatever hospital, Sherman's close to here now too, how much do you think all that would be? Couple thousand easy, right? Easy peasy. We've done our best to knock this down as well as we can. This guy is the Lodi monster. If you were taking notes on the front, looking for the third reason of why most people get sick, it's because of the Lodi monster, L-O-D-I. The law of diminishing intent. The law of diminishing intent. And so what that means, if you've ever heard a really great sermon, but never put anything into action, I'm sure none of you have done that. If you've ever gone to a motivational speaker or to a health talk on a Sunday at your church and listen to this stuff, and you get the information, but you don't actually put anything into action. That's the law of diminishing intent, because what happens is the more time that goes by, you're going to even forget that I came here. You're going to forget what I look like. You're going to forget what I talked about, unless you find your notes crumbled up under your seat in about 3-4 months after we get through winter. So my plea to you is to take action today, to find out what that looks like. And our